Okay, I'm going to be taking apart a Victor VV-400. I'm going to be doing it from start to finish. Feel free to skip forward for any parts that don't pertain to you. First thing I'm going to do is remove the turntable. At this point, the motor should start spinning. In order to get the motor to stop moving, you can remove the speed control, except that I actually want this motor to spin itself down before I start working on it. So I am going to let it finish its thing. While the motor is spinning itself down, I'm going to remove the brake. Some people just move this out of the way by sliding this piece over to the left. But the problem is it hits upon this screw right here. I am going to remove it entirely. 2 screws hold it down. And then the whole assembly lifts out. The motor has stopped moving. I'm going to give it just a few more spins. Get anything else out of there. I am going to be taking these springs apart, and I don't want there to be any tension left in there. I'm going to remove the speed adjustment. Mine is a little bit rusty. I'm not sure how that happened. Rusted right through the gold plating, so I'll have to tend to that. I have some Evapo-Rust, which works wonders at getting rid of the rust but leaving the patina. Earlier, I removed the 2 corner screws. One went here, the other was here. I just set those in the back for now. You have to make sure that you remove the crank. This plate will not come up if the crank is inserted. And then in theory, you lift up on the grab knob and carefully slide this along the rails so as not to injure your tone arm. And the whole thing lifts out. So let's take a look at what we have here. All in all, it doesn't look too terrible. Although, as I was taking this apart, there was quite a few rumbles coming from the drums here. So there is some dried grease and such on the inside. So these need to be disassembled and have the springs removed, cleaned, and repacked. Taking a look at the governor. It actually looks pretty good. We've got the speed control right here. So when I removed that screw before, it released this arm, which set the leather stopper against the governor speed control itself and stopped it cold. We've got 3 of the weights. Looks like they're in good shape. Everything else is good. This thing is actually a very quiet machine. Does its job very well, except for the occasional rumble. Got a bunch of grease that has come out. Everything else is there. So we're going to start taking this thing apart. I'm actually going to, for the sake of this video, I'm going to leave the governor in place. If you want to remove the governor, you remove this screw, which then allows this piece to come out. This piece has got a little ball bearing inside of it. Governor rests there. I'll probably take this out eventually just to clean it and re-grease it. There's another screw here, which removes this piece. You see the governor goes into it there. That would free up the governor, allow for cleaning. The main gear, which attaches to both the spring barrels and the governor, is removed with this screw right here. You loosen up that screw, and then this collar will slide up, allowing this piece to come out. But right now we are just going to work on removing these two barrels, because this is the tedious part that requires some work outside. So in order to remove these barrels, you first need to do a little archaeological dig. There's the shaft in between the two barrels. I had to clean a lot of this really hardened 100-year-old grease off of there. You can usually pretty easily feel with a screwdriver when you come upon the set screw that's holding this collar in place. And you remove the screw after you can find it. And this isn't just a little set screw that is sitting against the shaft. There's actually a little divot there, and it fits inside a hole in the shaft. And if you come over to, I'll go back a little bit. So that's the inner screw that's just removed. Got the gears over on this side. And then there's another one on this collar over here. And again, it'll be covered in grease. At least mine was. You remove this one fully. It too has a little divot that fits inside the shaft. To get the shaft out, I should take a socket. This one is a 5/16. A little ball peen hammer. And just tap it through. And what you'll see, the shaft is starting to come out the other side. And it should come out fairly easily. In fact, once you get it that much of the way, sometimes you can just grab hold of it here. I'm not wearing gloves, so I'll do this with a cloth and just slowly work it out. First one's out. You can see in here where those set screws go. So that's where the set screw in the end, and then the one in the middle goes there. So I'll take this and give this a good cleaning. And then in theory, once that is out, your barrels will come loose. The next step will be taking these apart and getting at the springs inside for a cleaning. There's one, and the other one comes out just like that.